think anything else in here is really that interesting. These are the SIP settings if you needed to change for Amazon, things like that. The external SIP IP. And again, the external RTP IP. Those are the things you would want to hard code to your actual IP address. The TLS stuff, if FreeSWITCH doesn't start, you can set TLS to false. But I think with this staging stuff, it should be fine. But that's usually the first thing to check. DTMF, codecs. Codec stuff, usually just inherit from the global config. NAT stuff, we don't do anymore. The session timers. Luis swears that minimum session expires is hard-coded to 90 in FreeSWITCH in the source, and so setting this lower is meaningless. I don't know if that's true or not. I haven't verified it, but if you're seeing like 422 session too small, or I forget what the error message was, it may be that the device session expires timer is too small compared to FreeSWITCH. So you may need to muck around with that. I don't think any of these other, none of you mess with anything else. And then just regular logging. Oh, one thing, Kazoo does not yet do outbound registrations. So if your upstream provider requires username password authentication, Kazoo does not yet manage that. So you just need to go in to the gateways folder and add the carrier XML to do the outbound registrations. And again, it gets tricky because obviously a lot of carriers want a single IP. So then you have to proxy the registration through your Camillio, and yeah, it's being worked on. But it is there and doable. Okay, any questions on config files so far? All right, the Kazoo, this is one that you will need to edit initially, just to make sure that it loads the proper configs. So you have two options for the cookie value, and this is an Erlang thing. So first of all, the listen IP, you can change that if you need or want to lock that down. But really the only other thing to change is this cookie value. And what that is Erlang was designed to run in a trusted local network environment. And so its authentication is that you have the same cookie as I do. So when Kazoo eCall Manager connects to FreeSWITCH, it uses the native Erlang distribution protocol to do so. And so it checks the cookie values. So this value will need to match what eCall Manager's cookie value is set to. So just know that that and then apps connecting to BigCouch are the only time the cookies have to match. But eCall Manager to Rabbit, apps to Rabbit, the cookies are meaningless because you're not communicating using Erlang, you're communicating using AMQP. But so usually you just change this to some cryptic whatever, and then that's what you'll set any eCall Manager that's going to connect to this server will need to have the same cookie set for it. And that should be about the only thing you change. You can alternatively set a cookie file, depending on how you're deploying this. You could just include the cookie file. All right, and so go ahead and start FreeSWITCH. So this fscli-x is a really nice way to write some monitoring tools, because you can execute arbitrary, the commands you could execute just running fscli, you can execute this way, but get the output to your terminal or into a bash script or what have you. So then you can do monitoring that way without having to go into the interactive shell. Why don't we take a look at the shell real fast? Oops. Let's go the wrong way. Right, so if you do... Oh yeah. Right, so you should get something that looks similar to that. You can alternatively enter the interactive CLI and do status there. So it's the same thing. Just in caps, if you, right, so if you wanted to do right, you just need to enclose it in quotes. And here you can see Sophia does not, in fact, start up on boot. But you could do things like show channels. There are none. Okay.